Allow me to give a refresher if you don't already know the story. If you do know the story though, fast forward to the Nemesis Engine. You know what I mean. Okay, quick recap. Pokemon, one of the biggest IPs in the entire world. There's a game that came out last year called PalWorld. That game was dubbed Pokemon with Guns. Not only did gamers call the name Pokemon with Guns, we also made it known very quickly that Nintendo needs to do something about this. For the longest, Nintendo did not want to do anything about it. So we thought. But in the last week, Nintendo has filed a lawsuit against Pokeballs, the makers of PalWorld, over infringement. Nemesis. Okay, Nemesis. What do I mean by Nemesis? I am talking about the Nemesis Engine. There's a comparison here. So, when the game came out, when PalWorld came out, just about everyone knew that this is way too close to Pokemon. Nintendo is probably going to sue them for that. And then we had a bunch of debates going back and forth about, well, can you have a copyright on art? Pokemon is just a bunch of monsters that you capture and train. As a matter of fact, Pokemon was not the first company to do that. Digimon did it. I grew up loving Digimon. Obviously, there's no case here. Nintendo was saying, hush, nothing else. So what is the lawsuit about? Again, remember the Nemesis Engine. Keep that in mind. What Nintendo is suing Pokeballs for is infringement on the mechanism of catching Pokemon. In other words, they're going for the Pokeball. Please, feel free to fill me in on what I don't have. But from a business perspective, this is a fantastic choice. The Nemesis Engine. Okay, what does this engine have to do with anything? So the Nemesis Engine is the one that was created by WB long time ago, and they implemented it in their game. I'm not going to pretend that I know the full scope of the Nemesis Engine because it only appeared in, I believe, one game. But the idea, the basic premise is that certain people in the game will remember you.
Really, that's still only scratching the surface. That's the beauty of the Nemesis system. In Shadow of Mordor, it was already a complex web of interacting mechanics, which was then taken even further in Shadow of War.
And as the game progresses, you'll run into them and then they'll tell you that they remember you and that whole thing will make sense. Again, I don't know the full engine. But WB put a copyright law on that particular engine so that nobody else can use it. Not even WB has used the Nemesis Engine. So gamers, like hardcore gamers, we're talking like hardcore gamers. We're talking like me, nerds. We've just been talking about the Nemesis Engine. Okay, so here is a comparison. Nintendo is going after a company for making a game. Can they do that? Because say whatever you want about PalWorld, the Pokemon aspect of PalWorld,
so how can we catch one,
was the laziest part of PalWorld. It was literally the laziest part of the game. And that part of the game actually had nothing to do with the game PalWorld. In other words, if you didn't catch Pals into little pocket things, the game will still be exactly what it is. You
assault rifles,
capturing, training, enslaving, shooting, eating tiny little monsters. For Nintendo, the actual act of catching the Pokemon in the Pokeball, that is what Pokemon is. That's all of Pokemon. That's the infringement. You literally stole what is our game. Okay, here's another example. Imagine if somebody made a movie and they called it Busting Ghost. You would think, okay, they're getting inspiration from Ghostbusters. But if the movie is them capturing ghosts in the exact same way that Ghostbusters did it, well, you just took their idea. That's what Nintendo's arguing. So is Nintendo right? Yes, I think Nintendo is correct. I think Nintendo needs to go after that, because what Pokeball did was not to take a bunch of colors and shapes and no. They actually took what is Pokemon and put it into a game that it didn't even need to be there. In Power, you can just beat the pals to death.
Oh wow.
Literally.
They blur.
Why are you capturing them? You can just beat them to death. Should they win the lawsuit? Yes, they should win the lawsuit. Will they win the lawsuit? I don't know. What will happen if they win the lawsuit? It actually will hopefully at least mean that Pokeball will not take that Power World franchise beyond a single game. Keep it in the game. No plushies, nothing like, because again, Nintendo's not gonna let that happen, because you're just gonna destroy their business. Okay, so that's my argument. For those who don't understand, my argument is simply this: Pokeball should be sued by Nintendo because it took what essentially is what Pokemon is. It is a capturing game where you capture monsters into little balls. They took that, they stuck it into another game in which that particular engine was the least necessary part of PalWorld. And that's why the Nemesis Engine is also copyrighted, because if it's not, people are going to take it and just put it into anything they want. That's how we copyright things. So, yes. Thank you for watching.